Noah Lyles continues to remain silent over Kenny Bednarek push controversy. Going to keep personal. I wouldn't even really say it's a rivalry. Kung Fu. Kenny Bednarek put down all speculations about his relationship with national teammate Noah Lyles just before the 2025 World Championships. However, those who remembered the scenes from the finishing line of the men's 200-meter final at the USATF Championships from August would feel entirely differently about the matter. But by all means, give us more tea, could you, Noah? After Lyles edged out Kenny in the final straight stretch at the 200-meter final last month, the former could be seen sending a glaring stare at the second-place finisher. Bednarek answered in kind, with a shove on Lyles from behind, and fans immediately knew a rivalry was brewing. However, as Kenny revealed later, the two sat down behind closed doors following the incident and had a really good, honest conversation. Obviously, fans wanted to know more deets, but Lyles seems to prefer to keep his business personal. The 28-year-old recently sat down with Speakeasy to share his reactions about his interaction with his younger comrade at the USATF Championships in Eugene. In the YouTube upload from September 26th, Lyles could be heard corroborating Bednarek's story about them reconciling, saying, "We definitely had a conversation after that. After the track meet, we had to go in a room for a few hours and have a good, long talk." However, he didn't miss out on the chance to underscore how the entire interaction was essentially a subtle nod to Lyles' supremacy. "I already know once somebody is trying to put their hands on you, you already won the battle." Noah grinned. "It's very confusing. I'm not going to lie. The man, he's the only person in the history of the sport to ever beat me twice. But every time he beat me, he's losing." He went on further about how, despite Bednarek's 2 wins over the former in back-to-back Olympics 200m finals, he doesn't consider them to be in the same league. However, it seemed like the host was growing impatient with Lyles dodging bullets, and instead sought to directly question him about Kenny's shove. But Noah still wasn't one to fight and tell. "I'm actually going to keep that personal," the reigning world champ said when asked about what led to Bednarek losing his cool at the USATF Championships. And yet, track and field fans know well that the Gainesville native is a tease, and Lyles couldn't help but hint at what might have prompted his peer to shove him. "That's just something that involves me and my woman, me and Junelle. And right now, it's just information that we just don't want to go too deep in. A lot of the track world thinks they know, but it's bigger and deeper than just, you know, a simple exclamation." Lyles remained tight-lipped about the whole affair. But if Junelle was indeed mentioned, we can rest assured that Lyles wouldn't spare Bednarek any quarter if the latter decided to involve her in his trash talk. After all, when Jamaica's track fans went after Bromfield last year, following Noah's surprising revelation that he's been getting insider info on his Jamaican rivals from his bay, the American sprinter never for once left her side and made sure to show his support every step of the way. With that in mind, it would be easy to comprehend why Lyles' stare toward Kenny last month felt extra icy. But hey, it did look like the two managed to rise above their feud when the nation called them to arms. Noah Lyles showed his goodwill by reconciling on the track. "As you saw, Noah stared me down. I gave a push. I feel like we both could have handled that situation a little bit differently and with more respect." Bednarek tried to pacify the situation right after the USATF Championships. With the Tokyo World Championships arriving, he instead seemed to be more focused on making the stars and stripes proud in the Japanese capital. However, even at the WC, the hot undercurrent couldn't be ignored. So much so that the organizers placed Lyles and Bednarek in 2 separate semifinals for the 200m event, just to ensure they didn't put too much stress on the athletes' competitive natures. But as you'd expect from Noah Lyles, he gave a sonorous answer to Bednarek's shove by edging out the latter in both the 100-meter final and the 200-meter final in Tokyo. In the shorter course, Noah won bronze, with Kenny finishing in 4th place, while in the 200-meter final, Lyles and Kenny finished in 1st and 2nd place, respectively. But that fierce rivalry was soon put to bed. The USA went into the 2025 World Championships as the defending 4x100-meter relay winners. Naturally, the goal was to defend the title successfully, and Lyles and Bednarek joined hands, along with Christian Coleman and Courtney Lindsay, to make sure the gold stayed in the country for another 2 years. Lyles anchored the race, and all 4 teammates were seen hugging each other in glee following the victory. But were those smiles and hugs just for show? Or have Noah Lyles and Kenny Bednarek finally made their peace? Quiet in the eye of the storm. In the world of elite sprinting, emotions run as high as the stakes. Rivalries are sharpened not just on the track, but in gestures, glances, and the unspoken weight of reputation. Recently, the athletics community witnessed a moment that threatened to transcend mere competition. After winning the 200m at the U.S. Championships, Noah Lyles stared at Kenny Bednarek before the finish line, and Bednarek responded with a two-handed shove. Reuters, +3. ABC, +3. CBS News, +3. Yet what has turned many heads is not just the altercation itself, but Lyles' decision to remain largely silent in its wake. When pressed by reporters, he repeatedly answered, "On coach's orders, no comment." People.com, +3. SBO Art Bible, +3. CBS News, +3. In a sport where every word is weighed and amplified, his silence stands out. What does it mean when a champion chooses reticence over response? In this essay, I want to explore the layers, emotional, strategic, symbolic, that lie beneath that silence, to imagine what it might conceal or reveal about Lyles, the rivalry, and the psychology of elite sport. The push, more than a physical act. Before dissecting the silence, we should revisit the incident itself. In Eugene, Oregon, Lyles surged past Bednarek in the final stretch, crossed the line in 19.63 seconds, then turned his head to fix Bednarek with a stare. Reuters, +4. ESPN.com, +4. CBS News, +4. What followed was a two-handed shove delivered by Bednarek. People.com, +3. Fox Sports, +3. CBS News, +3. Emotions briefly erupted, each athlete attempting to stake a claim not just in finish order, but in the narrative of conduct, respect, and character. NBC New York, +3. Reuters, +3. People.com, +3. Bednarek later labeled Lyles' conduct unsportsmanlike. It's a respect factor. NBC New York, +3. Reuters, +3. People.com, +3. He said, "What he said doesn't matter. It's just what he did." Reuters, +2. People.com, +2. In short, Bednarek framed the push not merely as reaction, but as moral rebuke. From one angle, the shove is a physical punctuation to emotional discontent. From another, it's a challenge, not just to Lyles, but to the broader community about what is permissible, what is dignified. In